You know how in Yu-Gi-Oh you guys have no mana cost?
Yeah, that's like the best part about playing our game.
Well, I'm going to show you cards that have no mana cost in Hearthstone, and you're going to tell me whether or not they're good or not. This one's interesting because a lot of these cards are very low impact, so it's going to be actually really curious to see if you can figure out whether or not they're good. And we're going to start off with a classic.
Now, when you say good, like what's the benchmark here? Like, how are we defining good?
It was played in a meta deck.
It was played in a meta deck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is like objective. Like I can look this up. This will be in a meta deck.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's a good way of doing it.
Okay. We got a vanilla wisp. This is a 0 cost 1/1 with no text and a big blue face.
Wow.
Great. Awesome.
Card, right?
Great.
If you think about it, it's infinite, right? You can play all of these turn 1 and then you win. Well, 2 of them.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah. How the fuck was this in a meta deck? I see. Now I have to think about, okay, what cards would synergize with something like this to make it broken? Maybe there's like a way that you give the wisp like rush, and like when you play a minion, it gives it like +20/+20. I don't fucking know.
Holy.
That'd be crazy, right? Maybe there's something where it's like when you play a minion, it has like a like some sort of like trigger effect that does something. Oh my god, I hate this because like I'm gonna say no to this. You're gonna be like, this was like the best card in like 7 decks for like some dumb reason.
No, this is easy, bro. You got it.
I'm gonna say it was played. I'm gonna say it was. I'm not gonna fall for your tricks.
Hold on. Why are you saying it was played though? I feel like you're basing
I
that
have
off
no
my
idea,
reaction.
but I think I'm just playing the mind game at this point.
That's shit.
There's no rules here. Since when do we have rules?
A multiple choice test on a fucking like in school. Like you're
just mad I got it right. You're just mad I got it right. Show your work. When do you care about show your work? This is the American education system. We don't care about that.
Isn't that bad? Hey, you're right.
Oh,
It was played. But
I knew it.
Not for the reason. There's. I'm gonna give you 3 different reasons why this was played because there's a variety of.
Oh, so here's my multiple choice. Is this my multiple choice?
No. These are reasons why it was played. This
isn't all 3 of the reasons are reasons. Okay.
Well, actually 4. 1. This card was played in aggro. People would try this out just because it was a 0 mana 1/1, and having the additional thing on board with buffs is fine. Was it the
There's no way that's real. Okay.
I swear to God. It wasn't the most impactful card in the world, no, but it was good enough, and it was seen play actually. I think it's currently in standard. I believe it's actually played with Crusader Aura and Paladin, like a super low curve aggro deck.
Wow.
Currently it's still being played.
Yeah,
2,
low curve, more like no curve. It has 0 cost. Go on.
2, it was played in Rogue for 2 different reasons. 1,
combo.
It procs the combo, which is nice.
Yeah, sure.
Now, was that like the best thing to be doing with it? No, it's fine. The other reason was there was a card that was released that said if you've already played a card, if you already played a different copy of this card, draw a card. And with the ways that you can bounce back cards to your hand with Rogue, you're able to draw a multitude of cards with Wisp because they're free. And it's almost like a 0 mana 1/1 draw card, which is not bad.
Okay.
It's great.
Okay.
Most importantly, there is this card.
That was very dramatic.
Most importantly, there's this card from the Ungoro expansion, which says, Battlecry, if your deck started with 10 cards of different costs, craft a custom location.
So you need something with 0.
Well, you don't need something with 0 necessarily. You just need a 10 different cards, but some people didn't want to run like a 10 cost card or a 9 cost card or whatever. So it was easier just to slot in a Wisp. And that, because Elise is like the best card in standard right now, ended up being the reason why this card is playable currently in a variety of different decks.
So it's played because of Elise specifically, more so.
Well, in those particular decks, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's interesting. So like in Yu-Gi-Oh, we call that an engine requirement where you're playing a bad card to facilitate a really good card. I think you and I did a video about those like way back in the day.
That sounds right.
Yeah, and so that's actually like very Yu-Gi-Oh like in fashion because like that's very common nowadays that there's so many like bad cards you play because they make like a crazy broken card. Like you said, this is the best card in standard right now, right?
Elise is very good. Very good.
Yeah. So that doesn't surprise me in the slightest. That makes sense. I wouldn't have thought about that. Like you guys have stuff like that in your game, so that's kind of cool to know.
Okay. Well, awesome. Okay, what about this one? This one's fun. These ones will go super fast because there's not a lot to think about for some of these.
For some of them. This is a Demon Hunter card.
Yep.
Okay, so it's probably good then. 0 cost, Sigil of Silence. At the start of your next turn, silence all enemy minions. The start of your next turn. That's interesting because is going to silence everything that's already out, but then also it deters your opponent from playing things that they don't want to get silenced. So like if you don't want your opponent to play a taunt because you're going to like try to kill them next turn, then you play this and it like acts. This is like an interesting design actually. I like the mind games with this. I remember you saying Demon Hunter was like aggro and like mid range, and it's like, again, if you're playing this like in an aggro deck, like I kind of like see the vision. I think this is a cool card. I think it's like the question is like, is it too slow? I can't really see you playing this in it like a control match. I feel like that would just be, I feel like you just want like a higher quality card. This is such a cool design though. Like I like the design of it, but like I want it to be good. I think it's almost too slow. So I'm going to say it wasn't played.
At 0 mana?
Yeah.
Too slow? Just because what? It takes a full turn?
I think it's because it's the start of the next turn. I think it's too slow.
Yeah, you're right. This card sucked. No one played it. There's not a single person that
it
actually,
never got played.
I don't think I ever saw it in my life. I could be wrong, but I think like in the one instance it might be good. There's just cards that do stuff better, which is interesting because this actually happened at rotation and it was 0 mana. Like it wasn't buffed or anything. So there was a chance, but like if you want to silence a minion, you need to be proactive in that case. You don't want to wait a whole turn.
Provoke sounds like you and I making a video. 0 mana tradable. Tradable is, remind me, you can like put it back into your deck and like draw or like discard it and you like draw a card.
You
or
can
something.
spend 1 mana to put this on top of your deck. You will draw another card and this will shuffle back into your deck.
Okay, thank you. Choose a friendly minion, enemy minions attack it. Choose a friendly minion, enemy minions attack it. I don't know if Yu-Gi-Oh has anything like this, to be honest. Which is like, that may sound weird, but I'm trying to think if there's like a thing. There's like things that you can do like to make stuff like have to attack in the battle phase, but I don't think there's like a main phase sort of like combat sort of effect, if that makes sense. Like there isn't something that like I can, like a spell card that says like during the main phase, make your minion attack my minion. I don't think that exists, which is interesting because it's like it could work technically. This is Warrior. So you're already playing like big tanky guys. So most likely also there's like, there's like the armorer thing that it's like when you take damage, you like gain armor. So like maybe there's like positive incentive for you to do that. There's also a world where it's like you go, your opponent has like a board and then you play a big guy. And then because you have provoke, you can, it's all minions, right?
All minions, yeah.
How does the order work?
I believe it's first played one attack. I'm not 100%, but I'm like 95% sure that's how it works. I will look up to you.
The first, so first in attacks. So if I play something on like turn 2, 3, 4, the thing on turn 2 attacks first. Interesting.
Yep. Oldest to newest, yeah.
That matters a lot because I think this would be a lot better if like they play a big thing, then you play a bigger thing, and then you can provoke the bigger thing into your big thing to make sure it dies. But the fact that the weaker thing would be first, I guess there's advantages to that too. I think there was a deck for this. I could see it.
And you're thinking the deck is you just play a big minion and you provoke, and then your enemy minions are all attacking into it. And then
because like Warrior, I'm looking at this as like a pseudo board wipe, right? Like Warrior has like big enough guys. And so then it's like, okay, you play giant guy and then you provoke their whole board, especially like anti-aggro, right? You just provoke their whole board into your guy and force them to all their dies to die, especially considering it costs 0. So that's I feel like the use case for this card.
Okay, so this one is like really interesting because this card in a vacuum seems so strong. Like this card is really like it's a 0 mana board clear, just like you said. But because of the set it came out in, it was unplayable. It was unplayable.
Wow.
But they finally nerfed all the shit in United Tournament at some point. So they were able to finally have a playable deck because of this card.
Headmaster Kel'Thuzad?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. 5 mana, 4/6 spell burst. If this spell destroys any minions, summon them. Whoa.
So,
okay.
Because spell burst would be procced by the provoke, if you're hitting like a big minion, every minion that would die from the provoke would summon on your side of the board.
That's sick.
And because of that interaction, provoke and Kel'Thuzad was actually a very good combination of cards in like a slower warrior deck. And that is like the sole reason provoke was played. Like that was,
so I got it right.
That was it. Yeah, you were right. It was played in a meta deck, which is funny because like provoke on its own, even without Kel'Thuzad, I thought for sure it would see play. Like it just seems like a good card. But it just
really outside of Kel'Thuzad, it's on no play. Like at all.
Like no
That's
play.
Crazy.
No,
that's
it's
crazy.
Like no play. Yeah, it's really weird because I think the logic is like you'd rather just have a better card. Also, what does provoke do for you if you have no minions on board? Like it is just a dead card. So like you needed You need,
but
like,
you could trade it away at that point.
Right, but what if when you draw it again, you still don't have a big minion on board? What if you?
Sure.
Why run provoke when you could just run a better removal?
Inner Rage, another warrior card. 0 mana, deal 1 damage to a minion and give it +2 attack. So anything that would get a benefit from having damage dealt to it, this works with. There's like some warrior card, I think, that it's like when it takes damage, it like gets stronger. I think it's like a super old one.
That was like Warrior's Mechanic for Classic. They had a bunch of cards that did that.
Oh, okay. But like, I guess if that thing already would get attack anyway, like, do you care? Like, would you rather just play other stuff? Could be like it does damage back to minions, like on the enemy's field. It could go face, but like whatever. Draw you cards. Like if it takes damage, you draw a card. It seems kind of cope though. I guess it's this one's tough. I feel like this one's really dependent on how crazy of an effect there is. That's like if minion takes damage, what is the like positive of doing so? I want to say there was a deck because I feel like with the way that Warrior works, the way that I have like learned, there's always like some benefits for like your guys taking damage because that's why like your guys are like so tanky. Maybe there's like enough synergies that this is like actually playable. Just understanding how Warrior works, I feel like there has to be something. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't see play, but it's 0. Sure, I'll say there was a deck.
It's 0. All the cards is 0, just for the record. Surely one of them.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Inner Rage is I wouldn't call it one of the best cards for Warrior, but it's not placed throughout its entire time in Standard.
Oh, really?
It was a rather like very versatile and flexible card depending on what you wanted. The first one is like what you were saying, which is like sometimes you just want a card that you need to proc it's like enraged is what they used to call it. Now they don't have the actual keyword for it for some reason. And that was really good with Grom because all of a sudden you just get 12 damage out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah, I remember this guy. Yeah, okay.
So
sure.
like, that was an easy way to proc it. The other way of really looking at it was a card called Battle Rage, which wasn't necessarily used in Classic very often, but it was used later on with like Risky Skipper to counteract the Demon Hunters. And Battle Rage is just draw an extra card for each damage minion or each friendly character. Sorry. So the Inner Rage in some instances was just like 0 mana, draw a card. The other way of looking at it was Acolyte Pain, which is whenever this minion takes damage, draw a card. And because with Pain was a 1/3 during Classic, just for the record, but it's impossible to find artwork of like older cards. So just getting that extra guaranteed draw meant that like not only are you getting through your deck faster because our draw wasn't insane until later on, but it also meant that your Acolyte of Pain is a threat that your opponent just could not ignore, which is like a really great thing to have. There's other synergies I could go through. Like the list kind of goes on and on with Warrior. The other really big one was Execute. Sometimes you just needed a ping.
Oh, you do it to your opponent's thing. Yeah. Okay. And cute. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, there was a ton of different ways for Inner Rage to be playable. But yeah,
that's cool. Like, very versatile card then. Yeah.
You sounded like you were kind of like really in the middle. Like I would say on average, Inner Rage was way better than it was bad. Like there was definitely too much flexibility for that card to be unplayable.
Yeah, I just, again, with how many of these we've done, I felt like Warrior just sort of like, there are I was even thinking like outside of like the Warrior, like the Execute thing is really cool because then you can like, then it's like using it proactively against the opponent. I didn't even think about that. So that's neat.
I would argue other than Warlock, because I think Warlock's the most like cool design class out of all of them just because of what they do with it. Warrior is like top 2 for me. I think the way that they manipulate with like self damage is so cool if they do it right. It's unfortunate they don't lean into it as much as they used to, but it is what it is.
I see. All right, Hearthstone, very funny. This has tradable again, 0 mana like everything else. Restore all damage your hero has taken this turn. Ooh, okay. So I guess question: if you like life tap, does that count as damage?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do damage. Yeah.
Because like, so in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's a distinction between like paying life and taking damage, and so some things like say like, if you like take damage, right? Yeah. So there's like semantic stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm not sure if Hearthstone is the same. I'm trying to think like what's the coolest extreme thing you could do with this effect? Because I know there's stuff that Warlock has that's like, oh, when you play this, it just you take like a crap ton of damage or something. So maybe you don't care. Like maybe it's like, oh, here's these like crazy cards that like, oh, I play it and it has like charge, but I take like 6 damage or something, right? And then it's like, okay, I Hearthstone and now I'm back. right? So it sort of like helps mitigate those like heavy downsides. There is a world though where this card just like sucks, because like if there's enough cards in Warlock that pay life that you like actually want to play, because it's like, oh, the trade-off is you're paying life to play the broken stuff, and then you have Hearthstone to sort of mitigate that, then I think this card is played. In like a regular like sort of Warlock deck, I don't think so, because it's only the damage you've taken this turn, and you can't use this at like quick effect speed or anything. So it's not like you can like take 20 damage to the face from your opponent and just Hearthstone in the same turn, unless you're like purposely doing it yourself or something. I want to say there's a deck for it, but it's really, I want to say no, unless there's like that exact deck I'm talking about where there's a high enough density of life paying things that you would play this card. So that's like kind of a cop-out answer, but
yeah, you need the critical mass for it. I mean, I think for the most part, that is basically what it comes down to. Hearthstone's been in the game for like a year, I want to say. It has to be rotated. And I think the card has saw like little to no play. The issue is that there's not enough cards currently in the game that really want you to spend a ton of damage on yourself to do it.
I'm kind of surprised that there isn't just like a lot of, like, what's the best case scenario for this card currently? If you were to play, like, what is the card that that costs the most life that you would like be like, okay, this is worth playing this card?
I think the card's called Fine Print. Again, I could be wrong, but there's a card here. You just, for the record, this card has not seen any play at all, even after this card's release. So
Fine Print is a 4-cost shadow spell, deal 4 damage to all minions, excess damage hits. Okay, so that's kind of along the lines of what I was saying.
Yeah, but the thing is like then you're running 2 cards for a board clear, and it's like there's just better stuff you could be doing.
Right.
Hearthstone's like, it may be in the, like you said, if there's a deck that really needed it, then like it might be one of the best cards in there. The fact that it's tradeable too is nice in case you want to wait, but like, yeah, it just never.
Yeah, like, so a good example is in Yu-Gi-Oh, there's an archetype called Dinomorphia. Dinomorphia, like half the cards require you to pay half of your life to activate their effects. And so like, if you're on turn 1 going down to like, 200 life points, and then you can just Hearthstone yourself back up to 8,000, like that might be pretty good. You know?
Yeah. There's something like that in Hearthstone. That's actually so insane.
Yeah, no, so that's like, that's like, that was the kind of deck I was thinking that would be perfect for a card like this.
Yeah, sadly, it just never really made them. I mean, I say sadly, but like, do you really want a deck that
it could be degenerate too, right? That's the problem. Because like, everyone hated fucking Reno Jackson and shit. So.
Well, it depends on who you are. I mean, depends. I like Reno. I was going to show you all the highlighter cards today, but then I was like, whatever. We'll do this one. This one's fun. Right, here's your next one.
All right, Forbidden Ritual. Apparently, the Forbidden Ritual is summoning Cthulhu. It is a shadow spell. Spend all of your mana, summon that many 1/1 tentacles.
For flavor, by the way, this is Whispers of the Old Gods, which actually was related to like Cthulhu, who is like a tentacle being.
Oh, that's funny. I like this because it scales. So like the longer the game goes on, like you get more out of it. I think that's like just a cool design generally.
Okay.
Because it's like, oh, if you want to play this early on, cool, you get like a couple guys, but you have this turn 10, right? You can play it and get 10. Well, you have 7 slots, so you're kind of locked in that regard. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a Warlock card? I guess that gives you, because Warlock requires you sometimes to like sacrifice things to like get big effect. So having a thing that gives you free guys, this gives you 7 wisps. It's crazy. Cool design. I like the design of it is neat. Whether or not it's good, I think this saw play. I think this saw play in a meta deck. Actually, I think there's like it's the fact that it scales the way that it does, and the fact that it like could positively interact with Warlock's cards. I think there was a home for this card. I don't know if it was played in like every deck, but I think there was like some decks that like if they're very like sacrifice focused, then like maybe like this is a good way to just get free guys on the board.
Okay, so you're thinking too much Yu-Gi-Oh here. We don't really have a way to sacrifice minions into the our board, unfortunately.
No, there's not really like there's not like battle cry, like sacrifice a minion, do a thing.
There's been like very small instances of it. The reason why this card was playable is because it was good in Zoo.
So it was just guys.
It was a good way to like fill the board up if your opponent removed it. It also worked really nicely with this card, which is a card that released in the exact same set.
Ooh, after you summon a minion, gain +1 attack. So does this trigger on each summon?
It would trigger on each one. Yeah, it would trigger on each one.
That's very interesting. See, in Yu-Gi-Oh, it would all be considered one summon, so you'd only get +1 off of the councilman. So that's very interesting how that would work.
Yeah, it works very positively, like with all summon cards. Like the councilman was extremely good because it worked on any minion you also played. So like it would just only get bigger and bigger. But that's pretty much what Ritual was there for. Like just to refill your board.
So just a Zoo aggro card.
Do aggro card. Not every class, but most of the classes got like a forbidden ritual effect where it's like spends all your mana, does something.
Oh, okay. Like, so I imagine like mage was like spend all your mana, deal like 1 damage per crystal or something like that.
Yeah, to a minion. Yeah,
I can see that. Yeah. Oh, is it actually? That's funny. Yeah. Zap. This is a Shaman card. Deal 2 damage to a minion. Overload 1. It overloads.
Remember backstab, right?
Backstab's just 0 mana. Deal 2 damage to an undamaged minion.
Yeah. That's your comparison.
Great. Awesome.
Did that help?
No. Like, great. We got worse card in worse archetype. Fantastic. Why does it overload for 1? That's
the Shaman tax.
I guess. Yeah.
That's the only way they can make it fair. Shaman would be too broken if it didn't have the overload tax on it.
I want to say this is bad, but like maybe there's a world where it's okay because maybe there's things that buff nature spells. So then it's like, now it's like 0 deal 4 damage.
I'll just stop you right there. When this was released, spell schools were not in the game. So just ignore that.
That wasn't a thing.
No, it wasn't. They didn't add that until 2021. This was released in Witchwood, so 2018. Yeah.
Well, there goes that logic.
Sorry. Yeah.
Well, there were still things that like made spells deal more damage, right?
It would interact positively as spell power, yeah, or spell damage, yeah.
Spell, yeah. But like, okay, at that point, like, why are we doing this? This is where the mind games come in, because it's like on the surface this doesn't look great, and then you're gonna be like, this was played in every Shaman deck because it was fucking crazy.
Well, I was hoping backstab would help you out here. Do you remember how good backstab was?
Comparing a bad card to a good card, I don't think is a fair comparison. I'm just saying.
Why do you think this is so much worse than backstab?
Because the overload is terrible.
Ooh, okay, sure. Yeah, overload's pretty rough. Shaman, they didn't know how to do Shaman for a very long time. Shaman was.
Did they not?
Weird. No, Shaman was always like this. They still do it now, to be honest with you. Shaman feels like it's a completely different class every expansion. Like, it's always so weird. And like, because they have to like, oh, we had overload from the beginning of the game, we got to keep leading into it. They kept adding it to the game, or adding it to the cards. And then eventually what they realized was like, overload kind of sucks. And it really makes Shaman kind of awful. So they kind of stopped printing it as much. They still do for the record, but not as much.
I'm not a believer. Even if like
not for Zap.
I think on principle, like even if this was played, I feel like just like I'm really trying to see like, okay, sure, like maybe against aggro, like you have this stuff and then you can like zap down their stuff and slow them down, and maybe there's like not better. I'm not seeing it, man. I'm really not. If it was like deal 3 overload 1, then like okay, maybe I'm a believer. But 2, I gotta say no.
Okay, so you would be right for quite a long time until they released
famous
this card.
Words.
This card, I swear to God, was the whole reason this card was playable.
Thunderhead, 4 mana, 3/6. After you play a card with overload, summon 2 1/1 sparks with rush. Interesting. Okay.
So now Shaman had a way to not only fight for the board but swap tempo. And because Zap gave you that 1 overload, you actually had minions to summon with this, or you had a way to summon some sparks. The sparks would fight aggressively for board. And then if Thunderhead lived, because you had all this ways of doing damage for 0 mana, you're so far ahead. Like you're so far ahead. So Thunderhead was like the pivotal card that made all of this relevant. Zap, before this card came out, hold on, I'm really trying to think if it was played. Hold on. I don't think it was. I think the other argument for Zap is like Shaman has the spell power totem that they can get randomly. So like 0 mana deal 3 is kind of good. That's about it. That's all I got. Shout out to Thunderhead.
It's sort of what I was saying, where it's like, okay, you've turned now this 0 mana deal 2 into theoretically 0 mana deal 4. Because the 2 sparks have rush. So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it sucks that it's tied to this, because if you don't have Thunderhead, then the rest of your deck probably sucks. So
it was not great. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Mutate. We're sticking with the Shaman here. 0 mana, transform a friendly minion into a random one that costs 1 more. Question, how does this work with the stats? So like if, let's say I have a 2/4, but the 2/4 took damage and now it's a 2/1. If I mutate it into another minion, do the stats stay the same, or do they become what the stats are of the new minion?
Stats of the new minion.
This card's crazy.
Are you sure?
This card's just good.
Are you sure? Why do you say that?
Being able to like convert your stuff for free into like, okay, so it's like
you can't
go.
and you don't.
I
get
know you
battle
don't
cries.
pick, but like, okay, but like on average, if you assume that like the roll you'll get is good enough, right? That's an assumption you have to make. If the roll is good enough on most instances, if you're able to trade your minion into like one or multiple minions and then mutate it into another minion that's just bigger and possibly better, or like, again, it's just like average, right? That seems pretty good to me. I don't know. It is dependent on you having a minion, yes. And you're also playing Shaman, which is a whole nother issue, it seems like. But
Shaman is, yeah.
I don't know. I think... I don't know. That seems good.
I think you're leaning too much into how good Evolve truly is. Evolve has been a mechanic for a very long time. It has. They've done it for a very long time. Quite literally, it is so bad every time. Remember when we did Remember when we did the Death Knight video? And it was like all these really cool effects. And then Shamans was like, evolve your minions 2 more mana for every minion on board when you play it. It was also the cheapest one out of all of them. And it was the worst one because the problem with evolving is like Hearthstone specifically designs minions and adds specific minions into the pool, or just maybe adds minions that are not intentionally great
to make mutate worse.
Yeah, to level out the variance of evolving. That's usually the biggest issue, is like every time you evolve, there's a really good chance that you're just gonna get like an average card. And that average card might be fine, but the bigger issue is like you could put another card in instead of the mutate that's maybe more impactful. But you're lucky because there was one card that was actually super good with mutate, and it was this one.
It can also just be that this is good for arena. Mogu Flesh Shaper, 9 mana, 3/4 rush, costs 1 less for each minion on the battlefield. Oh, that's sick. So basically, I'm assuming that the evolve is based off its original cost, not the reduced cost. Okay, haha. So I knew it.
When it's on board, it would go to 9 mana. The reason mutate was played is because there were chances, and it's funny because it interacts very positively with Thunderhead, because you would want to get as many minions as possible. You play the Mogu, and the average 10 drop during this time was so spicy, and like it might just win you the game on the spot. You would blow out your opponent, and that is the sole reason mutate was playable.
Yes, I got it. Okay, now question.
What's up?
With the giants, there's like Molten Giant costs like 20 or 30 or whatever by default. Yeah. If you mutate one of those, how does that work?
So I think it was, okay, I can't remember what it is right now, but it's one of the two things. Before, it was either if you mutate, let's say I'm at 10 mana and I go to 11, it would go to the 11 cost mana. And then if I go to 11 to evolve it to the next one, if there's a 12 cost, it would go there. I believe now what it will do is that it will not go above 10 cost. So like,
if you evolve something above a 10, it just rolls you a 10.
I want to say that is correct. I'm actually going to double check because I don't remember. There is like a rule they changed about it.
Because I'm thinking like, what's Molten Giant cost? Like 20, 30, something, 25, whatever.
It's Molten Giant is 20 mana at the moment.
Okay, so it's 20, right? So in my mind, I'm like, okay, if you evolve a 20, there's probably not minions with 21 mana cost. Maybe there is one. But like at that point, I'm like, oh, does it skip to like the 25 mana cost card? Because that would be like the next card in the chain. You know what I mean? So
the notes say the replacement minion is selected randomly from all available collectible minions that cost 1 more regardless of class. So I'm assuming if the next leap would be Molten Giant, it wouldn't go to Molten Giant. It would stay at the current mana cost unless there was one right above it.
I'm cooking too hard.
But also like Molten Giant is not even like the best. Like for instance, one of the minions you would get is called Colossus of the Moon, which was 10 mana, 10, Divine Shield Reborn. So in that case, it's like 40 stats, right? Like you'd have to get through the Divine Shield, whatever, or 20 stats, whatever you want to say. But that card was like, if your opponent got it and you didn't have a way to freeze, like the game was over. Like
you just lost.
What are you gonna do against it? So that was like a really good way of just winning the game, and that's what mutate was for generally, just to cheese your opponent.
Topsy-turvy, 0 mana. This is Priest. Swap a minion's attack and health. Surely that's good, right? I feel like Priest has a bunch of bullshit where it's like, oh, give the guys like 40 health, and then it has like 1 power or attack or whatever, and then it's like, okay, I can topsy-turvy, now I have 40 attack and you're dead. That seems like that seems like how that would play out. So yeah, I think this got played. Okay,
this card was played in a variety of different decks. One of the decks is exactly what you're thinking it was, which was pretty much, it was called Tempo Priest, and they would just buff up a minion's health all the way up, and then you'd smack them to the face. The other one was like, I'm not gonna go into it, it would take too long, but pretty much there's a card that would give you every card you played on it back to your hand when it died, and it had 0 attack and 2 health. So when you topsy-turvied it, You would get all those cards back, and then you get topsy-turvy again. And it was it was called
spicy.
It was literally called Topsy-Turvy Priest, because the way you would do it is you would keep buffing up a minion and minion and minion. Then you would topsy-turvy it, get all those minions, all those cards back in your hand to the point where your boars, which was a 1-mana 1/1 charge, you get enough health that you would topsy-turvy and kill your opponent. That deck was like an APM masterpiece, and watching it at professional level was so funny.
Because you had to race against the clock, right?
Yeah, it was very hard. Animations were the biggest killer there. Okay, here's your next one.
That's so funny because it's like, how long is the clock for your turn?
90 seconds.
90 seconds, yeah, because like in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like 5 minutes by default. So we have like plenty of time, as we've learned recently.
There was a simulator for that deck, so you could train for as fast as you can. Because that's
crazy.
That deck was, I don't think it was tier 1, but it was good enough to bring to professional level because it was a pretty consistent deck. But you had to be fast enough. There was no thinking. Like, you have to just be really good at the muscle memory in order to do it fast enough.
It's really interesting that the animations were like the stopgap, because like in Yu-Gi-Oh, or at least in Master Duel, all the animations are like consistent across like all cards. Like some cards, like when you play them, they have like they do like a sort of pop out animation, like Blue Eyes, right? Like you've seen that. Yeah. But like that's like the most time consuming animation. There's not like unique animations for some cards that do like some crazy thing that takes like 5 or 10 seconds. So like there are some decks I would say that are maybe like APM specific, like depending on like how combo heavy it is. But for the most part, I don't think that's like really a concern in our game. So it's interesting that that's like an actual issue that you guys face.
Well, so issue is in the eyes of the beholder. So
in quotes, in quotes.
There's a conversation that is made constantly that like the reason why animations are there is to balance out some of these decks. Because if there was no animation, like one of the problems in Wild is there's animation cheating. So if you have animation cheating, you could do some fucking nuts turns. Like, it's actually crazy because often it's just like you just play the card as fast as you can. The second it comes into your hand, next thing you know. But that animation stops you from doing some of the most disgusting things in this game. And it probably is intentional from Blizzard.
That's so interesting.
But like, again, like problem is in the eyes of the beholder, because some people would like to have no animations in the game. Or like, I'm sure from Blizzard's perspective, not only do they want the polished experience, but maybe it's just so you can't do this really stupid stuff. But it also, there's the argument of like the really good players, regardless of animation, will understand at like an instant their turn starts. Like, I got to start going and doing everything in my way. So it's like that maybe separates from a great player from like the best player. I don't know. It's a conversation. Anyways, next card's right there for you.
Anyway, Forbidden Shaping. Spend all your mana. Oh, it's one of these again. Summon a random minion that costs that much. It's random minion. Interesting that this is like a priest card. I feel like this would be sort of like a warlock card. Again, I mean, we just talked about like we had the random minion discussion and how this is like it's kind of the same. Again, it scales, so like if you draw this like mid to late game, like it still has some interesting value.
Yeah. So the argument,
but like if you're a priest, I'm trying to think like what you could do with it. Go on. What were you gonna say?
Well, so the argument against mutate versus or forbidding shaping, not to tell you how good forbidding shaping was, but the argument for it is that sometimes you just have nothing better to do because your whole deck's removal. So it's like you'd rather just spend your mana to make sure you're actually putting up some kind of threat, because that's what priest was often doing. It's just
if you're on like giga control.
Yeah, like if you're just like that's what it'd come down to, right? Where mutate's like you're running a card in a tempo deck to maybe get a better minion, but maybe it's just going to be the exact same thing. So it's like it's a different argument for both these cards. But obviously there's the shaman decks.
I think this probably saw play. I mean, it like unlike the shaman card, like this just guarantees you a guy. Like it doesn't need another card to like work with it. And like in the instance of what you're saying, I was kind of leaning that way already with like control, where it's like, okay, maybe you just like need a guy to put pressure on the board because you need to like end the game, you know?
Yeah.
So
be the case.
Yeah, and like you're playing priest, you can like buff it, you can like revive it and things like that potentially. So yeah, I think this maybe saw play.
So I think the only reason this card did see play was because of Highlander. Like you just needed to fill the extra card slot out. The problem with it was still the same thing of like, I am going to spend 8 mana. There's a good chance I'm not getting an effect that's decent. You're also not getting the battle cry, which is the other big thing. But
that's a big one. I didn't ask that. Yeah.
Yeah. The other really good thing about this card during the era it was released in is that a lot of the cards were like kind of stat sticks. So, and that's basically sometimes all you needed. Like this was released in the same expansion as Whispers of the Old Gods. So like if you got Tyrion, right, like you're chilling. If you got Grom, like you're feeling pretty good. But often it was just like, I have no mana to spend on removal because my opponent didn't play anything. So let me just play this.
Let me just make a guy.
And just hope that this does something. That's what it usually just came down to.
Desperate Prayer for I don't know why I said 4. Restore 5 health to each hero. Restore 5 health to each hero. Why would you play this? The only thing I could think of is if there's some way with Priest to like make it so that restoring health does damage and it costs 0, because then it's like if you have 2 of these and you have that, then it's like, oh, it's 0 mana, deal 10 damage to someone. That might be cope, because if you don't have that effect, or if there's not enough ways to get an effect like that, then I don't know what. I guess you can't go above max health. So like there is a world where this is 0 mana, like heal 10 across 2 copies if your opponent's at full health and you're not. You're playing Priest, so like that shouldn't be an issue. It's really contingent on if there's enough ways to make it that you can turn health gain into dealing damage. So if so, then yes. Otherwise, this card saw no play.
Okay, so you're half right. You're half right. The one reason this card was good is because during aggro, having a 0 mana heal 5 was actually pretty decent. Like
that's hilarious.
It does. It is that extra like turn in a sense, and maybe
that's
Priest all they needed was the extra turn, and also your opponent's aggro, healing them for 5 is absolutely irrelevant because it's like they're probably at full health anyways based on the deck you're playing. But you're the first half you're saying is actually spot on because this card existed.
Oh geez, Xyrella. Okay, 4 mana 4/4 battle cry. If you restored health this turn, deal that much damage to all enemy minions. Oh, okay, cool. So it's like a board wipe in that case.
Oh, it wasn't just a board wipe. It was the greatest board wipe of all time. That card fucking slapped. Now it's like
cool card.
Not only would it heal you, right? You heal your opponent, and then if you full heal your opponent, all of a sudden Xyrella is a 4 mana deal 10 to all your opponent's minions. And that is crazy.
I think I've said this to you before. Like life gain in Yu-Gi-Oh is like such a meme, so it's so hard for us to evaluate like life gain cards.
To be fair, it's the same thing in Hearthstone. Like Priest has always been a weird class because life gain doesn't feel as great as getting armor, right? Like I think we've had this conversation before.
We've had, yeah, exactly. But it's really funny because like you and I both have played Magic, and it's like life gain in Magic actually matters, you know? So it's so interesting across the 3 games. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that you can go above 20 life in Magic is such a huge deal that life gain is so much more important. I'm honestly
in Yu-Gi-Oh you can too. You can go above 8,000, but like again, it's like in our game it's a meme. There's like one good life gain card.
Yeah,
like,
well
ever.
you're getting smacked by removal and all this stuff from Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't think you care about going above 8,000. How relevant is that going to be in a game?
No, I'll show you actually. Okay, the one card. I'm gonna steal your video
because I would assume that most of the time in Yu-Gi-Oh it's like getting past 8,000 is just absolutely useless. Like,
Give this card a read.
What, okay, what a name. Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood. Okay. During either turn, except the end phase quick effect, you can discard this card. Apply this effect to this turn. You can only use this effect of Ghost Sister and Spooky Dogwood once per turn. Each time your opponent special summons an effect monster during the main phase or battle phase, you gain equal life points to that monster's attack. If you do not gain life points by this effect, your life points are half during the end phase.
So this is max C, but it gains you life instead of drawing you cards.
Why would you play this is the question. Like,
so
like maybe it gives
there's
you
a couple reasons.
Okay.
There's a couple reasons. The first reason is to cheese a win, because at one point in Yu-Gi-Oh, the time rules were such that if you had higher life points when time got called in a tournament, then you won the game, and then you might win the match as a result of that. So if it's like the beginning of the 3rd game and your opponent goes to special summon a monster and you play Spooky Dogwood, you gain life points. Oh, time in the round gets called. My life points are higher. I win the game. So cheesing it is one thing. But if you're going to look outside of the cheesing element of it, if your opponent is going to do a play that requires them to special summon like 10, 20, 30 different things, all of a sudden your life points are like 30, 40,000. Similar to like what you were saying with what's the card? Desperate Prayer. In Yu-Gi-Oh, having 30 to 40,000 life points is actually enough to buy you a turn. Because most decks only design like their combos to kill to get to like 8,000, 9,000, maybe 10,000 damage. But if you have 30,000 life points, all of a sudden now you're like, I'm chilling. Like I can actually just like wait a turn or two and then find a way to fight back. So that's like the only reason this card is actually like seeing some modicum of play. But it's interesting. Yeah. Life gain is just across all of our games is interesting.
Was it good though? Like
in some instances, yes. In some, it doesn't see like play currently, but like there have been times where it has seen play and has won people like very important like national level like tournaments and stuff. Moonfire. This is Druid. Deal 1 damage. Well, it's not Zap. I guess that's something.
That's true. You're so right. It's not Zap.
I don't know, man. This is like, if there's a way to make the spell damage go up, then this is really good, because then it's like, oh, deal 3 damage for 0. But if you don't have the spell damage, then I feel like it's not good.
Okay. I feel like you could say that for any spell.
I guess you're not wrong. Don't have to call me out for it, but you know, sure, I'll say it had a deck.
You're going what? There was like a combo or something?
Yeah, I feel like there was maybe some like combo with this that like it because it's 0, it's like the perfect card for this exact situation.
You know, it's crazy. That's exactly what it was used for.
Is it actually? I did not think that was right.
you know this guy. He's from Classic. He's a big dragon.
This looks familiar. Yeah, spell damage +5. Okay, yeah. So now you have a 0 damage, deal 6. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so there was a legitimate deck, just Malagos Druid, which would run Moonfires and swipes, and then all you would do is just get Malagos on board for some cheated value, and then
just like kill them,
just slam your opponent with Moonfires. And stuff. Yeah, that was the deck. That's pretty much it.
That's
Moonfire
it.
It's just like it's just a ping, which sometimes is all you need. It also interacts positively with a card called, oh my god, what is it called? Violet Teacher, which is every time you play a spell, you summon a 1/1 student, and sometimes just having the 0 mana ping and summoning a 1/1 is also just good enough. Kind of the same instance of Shaman. The thing, you know what I'm learning about this video is like 0 mana cards in Hearthstone especially, all it takes is just one interaction for them to just see play because it's free.
Yeah,
like it's
free.
There's nothing else to consider. It's actually hilarious. Okay.
Or it's funny in our game because so much stuff is free that like it has to be so good to be worth playing. Because like the amount of cards I've showed you where you're like, you do all this for free. It's crazy. And it's like, yeah, it sucks. You know, that's our game. Ambiggen, I don't know if that's a real word. 0 mana, of course. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. They cost 1 more up to 10. So you're buffing everything, but you're making them more expensive. What an interesting effect. This is why I love Hearthstone, because like you can do stuff like this. Like we could not do this in our game. I guess you could, but like the tracking on it would be awful.
It would be awful, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it would just not make for a good experience. You're already playing Druid, so like the extra cost on things could be mitigated. Also, if you're playing like aggro Druid, like everything's going to cost a low amount anyway, but then everything's like giga buffed. I mean, one more is, we talk about how mana reduction is really good, but I mean, making stuff cost more is a, kind of the counter to that.
It could be bad, yeah.
I'll say there was an aggro deck that played this. I'll say there was.
You're right. The card is actually good, man. This card was so annoying.
Crazy.
If you see Ambiggen turn 1, like, are you fucking serious? Like it was, because there's so many cards in this game that have like whatever mana it costs to summon a copy of it. So if it's copy, now you're getting double the value from Ambiggen. Like it keeps going on. Also, there are other cards that are like every time you spend mana on a minion, when you spend 10 mana on minions, summon a minion from your deck. And Ambiggen was another reason for you to be like, okay, like now my minions cost 1 more. We can get that done faster while also getting the additional stats. This is a good card. It was
if you play multiple, does it make them cost 2 more and they're +4/+4?
Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming you didn't do that.
No, quite literally you wouldn't care. Like if I made a one cost, if I made a 1 cost 3 mana, it was so worth it, because you have to think of it like, so your opening hand would be Ambiggen and maybe another minion. So you have the minion you could play in the meantime, hero power, maybe whatever on turn 2, and then you're catching up in tempo immediately. So like it wasn't actually a huge detriment. Now, double Ambiggen did bring you into some weird situations, of course, but I think on average you would be okay with it. I guess it depends on the matchup you're going up against. All right, here's your last card.
Sacrificial Pact. Destroy a demon. See, there's destroy stuff. Destroy a demon, restore 5 health to your hero. Destroy a demon, restore 5 health to your hero. So what could you do with this? Maybe there's a demon with like a death rattle effect that you want to trigger. So this is like a free way to do that, while also just giving you some life in the meantime, which if you're playing Warlock, you're life tapping. So like that's probably just going to be a net positive anyway. Ironically, you could kill your opponent's demon if they have one, because it doesn't say your demon. So maybe this was played when Warlock was insane and people are like, oh, we need a 0 mana kill spell. Okay. That seems kind of cope, but I mean, maybe there's a world that exists. Yeah, it's like death rattles and maybe teching against an opponent's Warlock, because I doubt demons are outside of Warlock for the most part.
Yeah, for the most part, yep. This card was from Classic too, so.
Oh, was it really? Okay. Yep. It's funny because it's like the little I did play, it's like you think I would know these things. I'm like, nope, don't remember it at all.
Maybe that gives you an indication on why you don't remember it.
Oh, because it didn't see play. But I'll say that and you're like, no, this card is crazy.
Oh,
you would never do that. You would never do that.
No, of course not.
I guess it's like again, like what you talked about with learning in this video. It's like it just needs one death rattle demon that's like insane for this card to probably be playable. I don't know. it's got to be an insane demon for you to want to sacrificial pact it. Like, it's got to like win you the game. Like, it basically, like, the only reason to play this is like this combo like wins you the game. Maybe it does. Maybe it's like, you know, it has some death rattle that's like deal 1 billion damage or something. That seems grossly optimistic, but you know, I don't know. This one's rough. There might be a card that combos with it. I gotta say no. This is tough. I'm gonna say there wasn't something.
So, listen here. You're gonna be absolutely correct.
But
then in 2020, they released a class called Demon Hunter. And that class likes to play demons. And for the first time,
is it literally just removal?
Listen to this shit. Yes, it was removal. And then guess what? They nerfed Sacrificial Pact to friendly demons. Imagine.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I swear to God, that's what it is in the game right now. I have to show you the classic version because I guess the logic was this, like, they don't want that to be so cheesy, especially because so many people are coming back to play Demon Hunter.
Why not?
They literally
pussies.
They literally now, but that's not it. You may notice this says destroy a demon.
Okay.
In classic, there's this card. This is Lord Jaraxxus.
Oh, because he's your hero, you can just kill him.
Well. It's not just that. You could do this on your opponent because if they went into Jaraxxus, you would kill them, which Disguised Toast did in a tournament, which is hilarious. On top of that, Zephyrus, which is a card I think I showed you that just generated like a...
That's the wish card, right?
Yeah, wish card, right? Because Sacrificial Pact is in Classic, it had the chance of generating it. And before Jaraxxus has changed, Jaraxxus is now a hero card. It's not a demon anymore, so you can't do this anymore. And before Demon Hunter came out, Zephyrus was able to find Sacrificial Pact to kill a demon if your opponent played it. And it was absolute cinema. That's
fucking rocks. Why did they nerf all that? That should have kept all of that. They're just pussies. Like, come on.
The argument was they wanted Demon Hunter to be good, right? That they wanted.
Well, sure, right, but like, okay, you can still. I think even, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Even with this interaction, Demon Hunter was still fucking crazy. So like, who cares, right?
Demon Hunter was still very good. Yeah, I think it's just the play experience of you dropping your. Because okay, I guess the argument for it was the thing that was played for Demon Hunters, like I showed you last time, was from tempo and mid range, whatever. The big demons were not played because they were slow. There was no reason for you to play them.
Sure.
So they didn't want you to have another reason for you to be like, oh, I dropped my 8 mana card and then you play 0 mana and it's gone. Like, I feel like that's what it is. Because the problem
that's
with
just Yu-Gi-Oh, bro. I'm sorry. Like, you commit it like 5 cards into a thing and I kill it with 1. That's your fault. Like, I'm sorry. You know, that we just deal with that on a daily basis. So I think they're cowards. I'm going to write a formal letter to Blizzard to let them know that they need to bring back the fun. Sacrificial Pact killing Jaraxxus is the funniest fucking thing I think you have showed me in like the 2 years we've been making these videos.
It is extremely funny. It is extremely funny. It's one of those things that's not intuitive whatsoever either, because when Jaraxxus was played, you don't really see the card, right? Because they would immediately go to your hero. You see the whole animation. But like seeing it for the first time and knowing you could do it was so fucking funny, man. And I think, like, I could be wrong, but I believe in like handlock mirror matches because Jaraxxus was played. Sometimes people would tech in the Sacrificial Pact in tournaments.
I think that's good. I think that should be a thing. I'm like actually getting angry over the fact that they like nerfed this so hard.
Classic was a different game. That's the thing, right?
I guess.
And to be honest with you, most of the people who did this or did that change are probably not on the Hearthstone team anymore. It's probably a completely different people. So like they might have a different like viewpoint on it, but then it's like, do they care enough? Do people even want this in Wild?
It's only going to happen in the Warlock mirror match. Like, how often is that going to happen, right?
Jaraxxus is no longer the same card. That's the thing, right?
Okay.
That's because now it's a hero. It's not a demon. It's a hero card. So like you can't actually even do it anymore. So
sure.
Like
well, I'm talking about in the instance where you could.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, for sure. But for the time you could, it was absolutely cinema.
That's anyway. So funny. You gotta send me clips of that. I need to see that.
I'll see if I can find it. I'll see if I can find it. It was extremely funny to see.
Oh, yo. Oh my god. Oh my god. Look at that toast with his banana grin. Oh. Wow. Not created from Cabal Courier, and it's straight up in Toast deck.
That rocks. That's amazing.
Anyways, that's the 0 mana video. This was fun, as always.
Yeah, this was great. Like I said, that's the best thing you've showed me the 2 years we've done this. So I'm glad. I'm glad we're still doing them.
I'm glad. I wish I wish those interactions mattered more. They don't have that shit anymore. All gone.